How's it going, lads? I'm NewClues and welcome back for more of the latest VR news. In this video we are going to have a look at the question that I'm sure has been bugging you for a lifetime. Is the Oculus Rift S still worth it in 2021? But before we get into the video, if this is your first time joining me, or if you have not already, please do subscribe. It's just a click and it means a lot to me. That said, on with the video. So, the Rift S, a headset that released alongside the original Quest on March the 20th, 2019, so over 2 years old now, but I think it's still relatively impressive, and has stood the test of time, kind of. Well, let's start with looking at what's happening to the Rift S. The Rift S was going to get an upgrade, but unfortunately no cigar. The new Rift S was thought to be coming out alongside the Quest 2, but nothing came unfortunately, as I think Oculus would have done an even better job at the PC VR market than some other companies. But first, let's take a look at the specs. It has a resolution of 1280 by 1440 pixels per eye, a refresh rate of 82 Hz. It weighs 563 grams, pretty decent field of view with one of 110 degrees. It has good enough audio, and also it has 5 cameras for optical tracking on the headset itself. It does a pretty good job of that, despite it relatively old in comparison to other headsets. The specs speak for themselves, not the greatest. 1280 by 1440 is nowhere near as good as the Quest 2 with that incredible resolution, or most other more recent headsets, to be honest. The Rift S is lacking in those departments, so when would you choose this, and should you actually? Well, the Rift S also uses the previous generation of Oculus touch controllers as well. The ones on the current Quest are much better, with better feel, better battery life, and just an overall better design. The previous touch controllers burned through batteries like they were nothing. It was terrible. The price of the headset is £299, the same as the Quest 2 currently. It was of course lowered from $399 to $299 at the Quest 2's release to match that price, but in comparison to some other PC VR headsets out there, how does it match? Well, there's not really any real point comparing it to something like a Valve Index or HTC Vive Pro, because if you're thinking about getting either of them, it's just not a comparison, it's a destruction. The Vive Pro and Valve Index are both massively superior to the Rift S and cost nearly £1,000, so that's not what it's meant to be. It's not a top-of-the-line headset, it's more affordable PC VR, not a super expensive headset, something more accessible. But then you ask, why not just buy a Quest? Well, to be honest, that's what I recommend. The Quest 2 is the same amount as the Rift S, sitting at $299 for this 64GB model, with no need for a PC, and it houses some incredible games. If you had asked me on release of the Rift S and Quest, I would have said get the Rift S, but now Oculus Link is available, and with that you can play any of the Rift S games on your Quest 2. So I think now the Rift S is almost obsolete. On top of that, you have the range of the Quest 2's games, some of which are great Quest originals, so that's another thing to take into account. The Quest 2 also has the massive bonus of it being wireless, unless you use Oculus Link, of course. Now, this is something I think all headset manufacturers should be working towards, entirely wireless headsets. I have read a bit about Plutosphere, but I don't know a huge amount about that, so if anyone wants to share any knowledge about it in the comments, that would be greatly appreciated, I'm sure, by me and anyone else watching this video. But that doesn't seem quite what I mean. Still cool, but not quite there. I will do a video on that soon, that said. So the Oculus Quest 2, in my opinion, is a much better option than the Rift S. It just isn't up to scratch with other headsets that are currently available in the PC VR market. The Quest does everything the Rift S does, but better. The option of playing PC VR games as well if you want. With Link, it is much better value for money than the Rift S. So if you want to get into PC VR and have the money, then get the Valve Index or Vive Pro. You get that much better graphics and a much better headset. But if you're looking at this, then you'd probably be looking for a cheaper option like a Quest 2. So that is what I would suggest you get. My final conclusion is that the Rift S is not worth it in 2021. The Quest 2 can do the same job and more for the same amount of money. The Rift S has specs that are under par, and the Quest 2 is just generally better than the Rift S. If you want to get a PC VR headset for the better graphics, more advanced games, then I'd suggest checking out this video I made. It is a little bit dated, but you get the rough idea of the different tiers. The Valve Index takes the cake in PCVR lineup, so I would suggest getting that if you want to go for PCVR. Well, that's just about it for this video. If you like this, you might like some of my others. They'll be on screen now. If you enjoyed this video or learned something from it, then please do subscribe to not miss out on anything else I do. Any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. But that said, that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon for more of the latest VR news. Thanks, lads.